And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
For the best car wash at the best price, then go to the new Nips Car Wash, located at 459 Highway 301 South, down from McDonald's in Jessup. Nips Car Wash features state-of-the-art IQ automatic car wash system. Every car or truck that enters the automatic IQ wash system is scanned to capture its unique vehicle profile to give you a great car wash every time. Nips Car Wash also features 2 self-service bays where you can choose from a variety of accessories such as foam brush, tire brush, bug off, wax, clear coat, and spot-free rinse with powerful blowers located in each bay to top off your car wash experience at an affordable price. For the best quality car wash around, go to the new Nips Car Wash located down from McDonald's on the left on Highway 301 South in Jessup. That's Nips Car Wash with a state-of-the-art IQ automatic wash system on Highway 301 South down from McDonald's in Jessup.
8:02 here at the Big Dog WIFO world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply and Nips Car Wash. Well, Odom T-shirts, let's talk about that at least.
Again, they're raising money for families who suffered damage during the tornado by selling the tornado relief T-shirts. They're $15 a piece. All profits go to the victims of the tornado. You can order your shirts by calling City Hall in Odom at 586-2211 or emailing cityofodom@hotmail.com. Last day to order is Monday, May the 4th. On the front of the shirt is a message, "We may be little, but we are strong." And on the back of the shirt is the message, "A tornado can damage us, but God and our Wayne County citizens will rebuild us." Again, all the profits of the sales go to the victims of the tornado. They're taking orders up until May the 4th, $15 a piece. So, again, if you'd like one, call City Hall today at 586-2211. Again, the money will go to help those affected by the tornado. So, again, I'm not sure.
So that's through end of business on Monday. Is that right?
Monday, May 4th is the last day to order the T-shirt.
Okay.
So, and I'm not sure. Like I said, I thought Kelly Loeffler was calling at 8, but she's not calling until 8:15. So I think I told the people vote them to come at 8:15. So if they do come, we'll get them in. But so I might have. I got my signals crossed up, but I thought Kelly Loeffler was calling right at 8 o'clock, but I got a word from her people yesterday. She's not calling until 8:15 this morning. So look forward to talking to her. Hopefully she calls. I said she has been scheduled twice before and hasn't called. So
right.
Got her fingers crossed that we get to talk to her today, because that's the key U.S. Senate race. Did you realize 21 people were running for that spot?
Wow, but it is a jungle primary, though.
There is no primary.
It
won't weed it out. There's 21 people coming on the ballot in November for that spot, so that's what's crazy.
Yeah, where you basically you're top. You got to have 50 plus one, and if you don't, then you have a runoff between the top two, no matter who they are. That's right.
I didn't realize there were that many people seeking this position. So,
I would say the front runners are her and Doug Collins.
I'm sure. Those are the only two names you really hear. Have to get a ballot and see who all the other 19 people are, but 21 people seeking that position. That's nuts.
That's like the against Buddy Carter. They got the third guy that apparently didn't he get called back to, I think wasn't he in the reserves or the National Guard and got called back to duty or something. The third guy, whatever his name was, nobody seems to know who he is. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in November.
It's just amazing. They got to pay to be on the ballot, right?
Yeah.
You got to qualify.
Right. Okay. I don't know.
Must be nice.
Yeah, well, I did tell you about my scheme when I was 25, back when you could keep your campaign funds, about running for Congress in a different district every 2 years and losing and keeping the money and making a living that way. You can't do that anymore. You have to.
The third person on that ballot, Buddy Carter, it's Buddy Carter, the incumbent, Danny Merritt, and Ken Yasgur.
Yasgur, yeah.
Yasgur.
Yasgur, yeah.
And on the Democratic side, you got three names as well: Lisa Ring, Barbara Seidman, and Joyce Marie Griggs. Haven't heard from any of those people.
Here come the folks from Odom, looks like. Sean's coming in. We're ready to go. So if y'all want to come on back, we're ready for you here. Good morning from WIFO-FM at 8:05, world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Let's get a quick GNN Sports update here on the Big Dog.
I'm Frank Arity, GNN Sports. There will be NASCAR events coming up later this month. The announcement made Thursday that they will resume May 17th at Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Charlotte Motor Speedway will host the Coca-Cola 600 May 24th and another race 3 days later. All told, there will be 7 races in an 11-day span to get things rolling, and they're expected to hit Atlanta Motor Speedway June 7th. For the first time since they held their first event in 1947, the Little League World Series has been postponed because of the pandemic. Denver Broncos linebacker Von Miller has tweeted out that he's now cleared of COVID-19. Hawks guard Trae Young came in 4th and last in an ESPN poll of 20 NBA scouts, coaches, and executives of young players that are regarded as foundational pieces. He came in behind Luka Doncic of Dallas, the Pelicans' Zion Williamson, and the Grizzlies' Ja Morant. That's sports, and I'm Frank Arity with the Georgia News Network.
And it's time now for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. We do have the people in Odom, the mayor, Greg Rozier, and Cheyenne Mosley with us. Again, this is a fundraising event. First of all, do we know the extent of the damage? And have we got a total on the damage in Odom?
We don't have the exact total at this time, do we, Cheyenne?
Sharon Corson with EMA gave me a list of everybody that was affected, whether there was minor, major, or completely destroyed. We have about 90 addresses right now that we're working with.
And this sale has been going on for a little bit, so how are the sales going?
They're going great. We've put in an order last Friday for 112 shirts, and then I have another order to put in today of about, I think it's close to 70 shirts, so we're selling a lot of shirts for the victims. It's
Do they
really
have
good.
all sizes, kids' sizes as well? Or?
Yes, sir. We've got from all the way from kids extra small to kids large, and then from adult small all the way to adult extra 5X. So we've got all the sizes.
And are the T-shirts there now, or are you ordering those, or how's that work?
We're going to order them, and then we'll call when they're ready to pick up. Fatback Tees is providing the T-shirts and the design and everything for us.
And again, the number to call is City Hall 586-2211. They can also email. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Or Facebook Messenger. We have a Facebook page, City of Odom, and they can just shoot us a message on there.
All one color or different colors?
There's only one color, and it's the light blue.
Light blue.
Light blue.
Like for Odom, right.
Yep, light blue for Odom.
Well, Mayor, appreciate you coming. Like I said, it was a crazy day.
It sure was. That Monday when tornado come through, I'm going to tell you, I changed Odom for a little while, but we got back and going, and I want to thank all the crews that came to help us out, because if not for those people that came, we'd still probably trying to get the stuff cleaned up. But we were able to clean up like in about 7 days, thanks to all these crews coming in. And I'd like to thank Jessup for coming in, and the mayor, and Alan Boyd and Mike Deal, because they sent their crew right on over to help us get a cleanup going. So, and there were so many people that came. We had churches that came with chainsaws. There were so many people that came, you can't list them all. I mean, they're just they come from everywhere.
It was a great community effort, like I said, and they came from other counties as well. I mean, people came from far and wide to help out, so it was just good.
Sure.
Coronavirus went flying out the window that day. I mean, there were hugs and just doing what they can to help people get out of their house. I mean, it's a sad thing when you see a tree falling up, and then that storm.
When I woke up that morning, the first thing I did is call Aubrey Manfield, works for me. I said, "How bad is it?" He said, "Greg, it's bad." Yeah. I said, So we got out and we started working, and the crews started coming in, and I'll tell you, it's kind of it's heartfelt when you have a lot of people coming in from nowhere, to people you don't even know. We had churches feeding the crews. We had the crews more crews than we could handle, really.
Well, the blessing was nobody lost their life. Unfortunately, in South Carolina, other parts of the state, several people lost their life to those storms. But luckily we were not in that category. So again, just want to encourage people to buy these T-shirts. Again, all the money, all the profits go to the people that need it. Is that right, Cheyenne?
Yes, sir. It'll go into our tornado relief fund, and we have one set up for anyone who wants to give a donation. We've had several people who have mailed in from Augusta and Atlanta just sent in a donation. Walmart was able to get a grant from 7 different stores, and were able to give us a donation for the victims, and also Rayonier. So we want to thank Walmart and Rayonier and everyone who's bought a T-shirt and everyone who's donated, just given to the relief fund.
Like I said, Mayor, if we try to thank everybody, we'd be here all day, because it was a tremendous effort. But again, just hats off to the people that did show up. How about all the people that lost their homes, that they've been able to be replaced? I mean, have they been able to find, how's that working?
I know that the insurance companies are in there now, and they're trying to help these folks that's lost some homes. There are some folks that's lost homes that didn't have insurance, and I think that's just kind of some of the people we've been trying to help out.
Right. Well, again, we'll continue. So the deadline's Monday, May 4th, is that correct? So
yes,
they can do
5
it.
p.m.
We'll go all the way to Monday, so
Yes,
we'll
sir.
keep it on Monday's news and let people know. But hopefully people get the message. Like I said, the T-shirt sales have been going pretty good. So I just want to emphasize you do have sizes for kids as well. So
Yes, we
kids
do.
all the way to adults.
Yes, sir.
What's the largest size T-shirt?
A 5X.
5X.
5X. Yes, sir.
Wow. I never heard of 5X before.
I didn't either until Mr. Scott told me. And I
Have
was
you
like,
heard of 5X before, Jonathan?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would know.
Well, again, I said it was just a sad day, but like I said, that the people came from far and wide, helped out. It's amazing how those people show up with chainsaws and know what they're doing. Mayor, I mean, that's what amazed me. I mean, these people come up with these crews and get out there and they start cutting down those trees and get those trees off the houses. And
I'm going to tell you something. We were needing chainsaws, and I made a few phone calls, and the churches stepped up. They sent people with chainsaws. I called one guy, and I said, listen, I need chainsaws for in the morning. I don't know how we're going to get them. He says, get back with you. So he got back with me, and the next morning at 7:30, I had 16 people, 16 chainsaws, and they were ready to go to work. So
I said it was just good to see the
unreal
community-wide effort, and like I said, and hopefully we can raise a bunch of money with these T-shirt sales and help other people as well. But what else is going on in Odom? Just getting ready for the already talking Odom homecoming?
we are planning to have Odom Day, but with everything going on with the coronavirus, we are watching it and just keeping an eye on it. We'll know definitely if we're going to have it later this year. We'll come back on the radio probably August August or September to let everybody know if we are going to have it.
Well, hopefully it's normally first Saturday in October.
Saturday
right?
in October, and I think that's the first this year, but don't quote me on it. I haven't looked at a calendar.
Hopefully we'll be able to have Odom days. There's so many things are being canceled, you just don't know. Like I said, nobody knows. This is just something nobody's ever seen before. Don't know how it's going to play out. Got our fingers crossed everything works here in the state of Georgia with the people opening back up. What about in Odom? Y'all have businesses open back up, or how's that going? You have the Odom restaurant?
I don't think any of our businesses actually shut down. We did have curbside service for Odd Mall Steak and Seafood and Blue Jay, and I don't think they've opened their dining room yet. I think they're still going to do the curbside and pick up.
Yeah, a lot of restaurants are doing that, just doing the curbside right now. But I know some restaurants are opening up with the social distancing, so you can just check your favorite restaurant and see what they have done. But again, we appreciate you coming in. Mayor, again, when you sign up for mayor, you don't expect a tornado to come through your town, do you?
Well, the other two mayors joke with me. They say, well, when you came in, you brought Corona and a tornado. So, I guess that's going to seat me in.
Well, how do you like being mayor?
Well, I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
I've only been there, like 4 or 5 months already, but I think it's going to be great. I love the people of Odom, and I love serving them. So I think I'm going to like it real good once we get all this other stuff out of the way.
Well, you've been to some of these service meetings, and they're talking about your thoughts on those meetings. How do you think they're going? You have to look after Odom, like the mayor of Scriven has to look after Scriven, and everybody wants their own piece of the pie. There's funds.
Yeah, I'm learning all that. So and I'm definitely going to fight for Odom. So I'm going to do the best I can for them, and I just appreciate Odom accepting me in the way they did.
Okay, we appreciate y'all coming in. I think we got our other guest on the phone. So again, 586-2211 or the website once again, Cheyenne.
City of Odom Facebook page.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right, I need to give you these headphones, don't I, Bob?
Yeah, you do.
Good morning, WIFO-FM Big Dog Country at 8:14. It's the world-famous Butch and Bob Show.
Okay, on the phone with us is U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler. Kelly, you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Again, we appreciate you being here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. We're going to start off on an easy question. Just tell us a little bit about yourself for people that don't know who Kelly Loeffler is.
Well, first of all, it's great to be with you. I know that I have huge shoes to fill. Senator Johnny Isakson is such a statesman and legend in our state, and I know he came on your show a lot, so it's really an honor to be with you all. Let me just share a few things about me. I joined the Senate on January 6th. I was sworn in after being appointed by Governor Kemp in December. As soon as I was appointed in December, I got to work traveling around the state, hearing from Georgians, because I came out of nearly 3 decades in the private sector, working, first of all, being a job seeker and then a job creator as a chief executive of a company. And, you know, my work ethic that I learned growing up on a farm and raising cattle, showing my cattle in 4-H, I've really brought that to the Senate to work for Georgia. It's why I was called to public service. And from the day I got sworn in, I hit the ground running, working for our state, working to fight for our president and for the freedoms that we enjoy in America.
Well, it's a big state. I asked your opponent, Doug Collins, I'll ask you, what do you know about Wayne County?
Well, I know that, having been born and raised in small-town America, I know that it is small towns that are they're really the heartbeat of America. And I think, you know, I've been really humbled by the warm welcome I've received. Jessup Mayor David Earl Keith has endorsed me, Mayor Jason Weaver in Screven. So I really appreciate that. I grew up in a town, near a town of about 700. So I know that a small town like Screven, you know, the hardworking Americans that are there, and how important our rural communities are. And, you know, I really think that that's the best of America is what small towns, what they mean to our country. And so that's why I'm really proud to be on the Senate Ag Committee, because there's so much we can do to make sure that rural America and our rural communities are served in the best light. But then also coming out of the business side in the private sector, you know, these small towns have amazing small businesses, and I am fighting for small businesses in our country because this is what these are employers of over half of Americans, and in Georgia there's over 1 million small businesses. So we couldn't run Georgia without the small businesses across our state.
Again, if you're just joining us, Kelly Loeffler, U.S. Senator on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. You know, when Johnny Isaacson announced that he couldn't fill out his term, a lot of people wanted this position, and the governor had a plethora of candidates to choose from, but you landed this job. How did you land that job?
Well, I can't speak for the governor in terms of his decision-making process, but I will tell you what I approached this process with was really in the spirit of service. I have been so blessed in my life to be able to start out working in the fields, moved up to waitressing in high school and college, worked my way up through really corporate America, left the farm when I was 17 to go to school, and, you know, have never left behind the mentality, that faith, family, hard work mentality that I learned on a farm. And when I realized what I've been able to achieve in America as a farm kid with no connections in the world, just the opportunity and the freedom that America provided me, once I achieved success in life, I realized that I had to give back, and that's what I went to Washington to do. And I let the governor know that. He saw that I was a conservative Christian businesswoman and that I wanted to help grow our party in our state and to work hard for him, in serving our state, work hard for our president, and you know, when I was appointed, I immediately got to work. So it's very humbling, and it's really an honor to be in Washington and represent Georgia. I got to tell you, I could not be more proud to be from Georgia.
The coronavirus, of course, is the main story nationwide and statewide. Governors had to make some tough decisions recently. I'm sure you support those decisions. And how do you think the reopening has gone so far?
Well, I sure do, because I think, you know, this is a phased approach that the president has asked us to all take, which is to think ahead, think about opening. I think the governor has taken measured steps based on data, and I have certainly stayed in touch with hospitals across our state And I'd certainly be remiss if I didn't mention my thanks to the Wayne County Hospital, to the CEO, Joe Iardi, for what he's doing, the leadership that our hospitals are providing at a time of great uncertainty about what we were faced with just 6 or 8 weeks ago, to be able to manage. I know you've got around a dozen, maybe a few more cases, and I want to thank all Georgians in Wayne County, around the state, for helping flatten the curve so that we can emerge from this. It's critically important that we start to look ahead. It's why I've developed an economic plan to help us as we reopen, because we've got to stand the country back up. 30 million Americans without work, over 1 million Georgians. That's 1 in 5. This is not sustainable, and that's really why I think I'm in Washington, to be that business person that helps us reopen and get back to where the president had our economy so strong as 2020 started.
Georgians are familiar with this position because, they realize the governor appointed you, but they also realize that the president wanted the governor to appoint Doug Collins, who's also in this race, and a lot of Republicans think that this race between you and Collins are kind of dividing the Republican Party. Do you see it that way?
Look, the president, I've gotten to know the president. The president didn't know me at the time. The president and I have developed a very strong relationship. He sees how hard I'm working. I've been working across the administration. I was actually on a call earlier this week with Fed Chairman Jay Powell, talking about what we can do to strengthen our economy, from community banks to employment and everything. And the president and I touch base regularly. We talk about China. We talk about reopening the economy. I'm on the president's task force to reopen America. I think you can see we're in a very different place than last December. And I'm really squarely focused on Georgians and their strength and the safety of their families. And I think they can see that, and that's playing out right now. And I'm squarely focused on that, and the politics. They'll take care of themselves, because Georgians know that I'm working for them.
So, do you think he'll endorse you before it's all said and done, or you think he'll just stay out of it?
Oh boy, I'm not sure how that's going to work. I won't speak for the president, but the president knows no one's going to fight harder for him. No one's going to outwork me, and the results will be, apparent in the work that I do, that I have done in my first 100 days in the Senate. Have worked hard to get around the state. Over this month that we've been home, I've conducted 100 calls with community leaders, chambers of commerce, hospitals, mayors, county commissioners, to get the feedback to make a difference in Washington. And I, have stayed in touch with farmers around the state. Being on the Senate Ag Committee, it's vitally important that our number one industry in our state is preserved and strengthened, and we've got a lot of work to do there.
I got to ask you, do people continue to see these stories about a stock sale of a 7-figure just a month before the stock market collapsed because of the coronavirus? But I'd just like to hear from you, what's true and what's not true?
Well, thank you for asking that, because I've been very open from day one. This is a piece of fake news that was generated by a left-wing blog. I bet if you went on that website today, they'd be attacking the president just like they do every day. It's the Daily Beast. They're renowned for this. It's completely consistent with the tactics of the left. I knew I would be attacked for my success when I came into this. I just didn't know how. Now I know how, and obviously I did not come into the Senate thinking that this was about personal gain. I left a lucrative career in the private sector to serve our state, to work hard, to get rid of the swamp that career politicians, Washington insiders have created, that the president's fighting against. You can see what the president's been through, the attacks on him, on his family, for his success. I mean, this is the playbook. And, in order to take that temptation off the table by my opponents, my husband and I made a decision, you know what, let's just take it completely off the table. We asked the advisors that manage our investments. We don't touch them. We don't advise on them. We said, let's just take this off the table. So we've done that. It's never distracted me for fighting for Georgia, and I'm going to continue to do that, and Georgians are going to see it. And this fake news, you continue to see it play out with General Flynn. You know, he was set up by CNN and BuzzFeed, and this is their playbook, and we should not, fall into that, here in Georgia, because you're right, it will divide our party at a time when we have to protect the Senate. We have to make sure that the Republican majority is maintained. This is judges in the Supreme Court. Everything's at stake here.
And you're in Washington. I'm just curious, the coronavirus continues to grab all the headlines, but what other stories should we be aware of? Where we stand on infrastructure and things that were being discussed before the coronavirus pandemic hit?
Well, I'm glad you asked that as well. There's a lot to do. I am really glad the Senate's going back in Monday to do that. This is our duty to serve the American people, and the idea that we should not come back it is really unfair to the American people. I had the chance to visit Fort Benning earlier this week to welcome the Secretary of the Army, Secretary McCarthy. Obviously, it was limited groups, and we practiced all the social distancing measures. But I saw firsthand how the military is managing through this. They are doing a fantastic job. I really commend General Brito over there for running a very safe environment. And I think, this is an example of what are we going to do to get the economy going. I think there's things that we can learn from how the Army's applied this. And I've developed what's called the RISE plan, USA RISE. It's really focused on 4 pillars to help restart our economy without, massive government spending that puts us in a more difficult fiscal situation with our debt. So these are elements of the plan that would spur employment, like made in the USA, shifting our supply chains out of China. Not only do we need to hold China accountable for what they've done, but we've got to think about doing business in the United States in the way that President Trump came into his office in 2016 and said that that's exactly what he was going to do, and he did. It's grown in the USA. We've got to protect our food security. What we're seeing now needs to be fixed. Jobs in the USA, making sure that we don't slow down job creation through the litigation that the trial lawyers want to bring about by reopening the economy. And then families in the USA. I think the societal cost of this pandemic is being overlooked right now. There's depression, suicide, domestic abuse, drug abuse. We have got to turn to the societal impacts and take these very seriously quickly, or it will become a bigger problem than it's already become.
It's a big state with this pandemic crisis. It's hard to get around, but how are you getting around the state of Georgia and, campaigning? How's that going?
Well, at a time when we need to be sheltered in place, it's been largely through phone calls. I mentioned just dozens of phone calls, over 100 group phone calls, video conference calls, which, the use of video has been very helpful. In some cases, I've been able to drive. I was able to get up to Murray County. Very sadly, some serious tornado destruction, the loss of life up there, and to visit, and then flew down to Fort Benning and Moultrie this week, to meet with the Army and also to see some tornado damage and some destruction that happened at farms down there. So just trying to be smart and thoughtful about where we are, how we approach it, but mostly virtually. At some point, we'll be able to be back together, and I know we're all going to appreciate the chance to be in person with each other.
And am I understanding this race correctly? There's no primary, right? There's 21 people running it. It goes all the way to November. Is that correct?
That's right. It's called the Jungle General.
Jungle General with 21 people. Do you know? I know Doug Collins is in the race. Do you know any of these other candidates? Does anybody know who these other candidates are?
Look, I'm glad you bring this up because I think it's vitally important to acknowledge what we're running to achieve here, which is we are taking on the Democrats. This is the number one priority that we have to do is make sure that we keep the Senate in Republican hands in November and that President Trump gets reelected. I mean, this is my focus right now. I'm doing my job, and Georgians are going to see that. as the newest senator in the Senate, Senator number 100, I've been able to get a tremendous amount of work done just a few months in, and I'll keep doing that. But the other thing that we have to do is make sure our state stays solidly red, and that's the fight. And we all know what their ideas are. This concept of democratic socialism, which takes decisions and freedoms out of the private sector. It removes opportunity. It implies that we need to, we can't work and we are not smart enough to solve things for ourselves, so we need universal income. And I think the American ingenuity is greater than ever, and I think President Trump has cleared the way for that to happen. We've seen unprecedented growth in our economy, in our employment numbers under his leadership. We need to get back. We need to preserve that and get back to where we were, and I think we can do that in a matter of quarters if we take the right actions now and make sure that Republicans stay in control in the Senate. Hopefully we can get there in the House, and I'm confident President Trump will be reelected easily. So that's our focus in terms of where we want to see November.
One final question. The president seems confident the economy will bounce back. Again, the unemployment numbers continue to rise. A lot of people out of work. Your thoughts on the recovery, once this finally ends and we get back to some type of normalcy, how soon do you think the economy will come back?
Well, the president's right. The economy will come back. The measures that we've taken, $3 trillion in relief, that was passed just a month ago. The most recent round, a $500 billion, passed just a week ago. So we've got to let a little bit of time go by before we put ourselves in a worse position with the deficit. So let's see where that goes. But the power of that's over 10% of our GDP. When you add the leverage that banks bring into that system, it's more like 20-25% of GDP. That's why I've stayed in close contact with Secretary Mnuchin at Treasury, the Fed Chairman Jay Powell, to think about what are these targeted programs? How do we make sure money gets out, capital, and the liquidity that businesses need to keep their employees connected to them and to keep their operations going? And so this is what's ongoing, but we need to continue to have those conversations in Washington about what else is needed. You mentioned infrastructure. How does that play in? That's a much more efficient job creation engine than a universal income program. So there's a lot we can do. There's a lot of levers still to pull, but the important thing is that we act now in a very targeted and effective manner.
Well, as you mentioned at the beginning, again, Johnny Isaacson was a regular on this show, and again, we enjoyed a friendship with him, so hopefully you'll keep this number. If you win this election, you'll continue to be a guest here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. I know a lot of people want your time at this key race, so we do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and being here on the show. Again, nice talking to you, and hopefully we get to meet you in person before November, and wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll have you on again between now and November. But we do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule being here on the show.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure, and I look forward to coming back.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, again, those comments of U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler, again, appointed by the governor to fill that unexpired term by Johnny Isaacson, and again, running for re-election, but it goes all the way to November. What you call it, the Jungle
General. Everybody,
Jungle General.
everybody's in one big heap. And if you have,
are you in that race, Jonathan? Did you not tell me? Are you one of those 21 people?
I should be.
Well, you tried it before, Yeah. You might be a tax write-off.
I couldn't get elected dog catcher, Bob.
I don't know if I'd vote for you for this position, but I might vote for you for dog catcher.
All right, that's
U.S. Senator. I'd have to think about it, but dog catcher,
maybe
you'd have my vote.
All right, that's the.
But it was good to have her on the show.
Yes,
like I said,
was.
Nice to talk to her. Like I said, appreciate her calling in, and hopefully we'll get her on, both her and Doug Collins on between now and November. So we've had them both on. So again, this is amazing. The primary though here locally is May 18th. Just want to remind, we're going to have a second round interview with the candidates for sheriff. Again, that begins a week from today. Paul Drury will be here a week from today, May the 8th on Friday. So, again, everybody have a great weekend. And
have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.
We'll see you Monday.
World famous Butch and Bob Show on WIFO, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply and Nips Car Wash. 8:35 up next, an update from Fox News Radio. Good morning from the big dog, WIFO.